Punisher Warzone stars Ray Stevenson, Dominic West, Dash Mahawk, Julie Benz, and Wayne Knight. It was directed by Lexi Alexander, released on Blu-ray March 17, 2009, and runs 103 minutes. The credits roll on a news broadcast of the release of a powerful mobster, and the Punisher's backstory is shown through comic panels. The '89 Punisher is so good, they basically reimagined the entire first scene in this movie, except it veers off shortly after, and the Punisher ends up creating his arch-villain, Jigsaw, played by Dominic West. In the process of that, the Punisher accidentally kills an undercover FBI agent. Filled with remorse, he keeps an eye out for the agent's wife, Angela Donatelli, played by Julie Benz, and daughter Grace, played by Stephanie Januszowskis, as Jigsaw may use them to take revenge on the FBI. Frank decides to quit being the Punisher, but Microchip convinces him to stay, insisting Jigsaw will take revenge. Frank agrees to stay until Jigsaw is dealt with. Another FBI agent, Paul Budiansky, played by Colin Salmon, comes into the mix, working with Martin Soap, played by Dash Mahawk, the only cop assigned to look after the Punisher cases. It's implied the cops don't care that the Punisher is out there or want to catch him, because he's actually helping them get rid of crime. Even Soap himself comes across as an inside man for the Punisher, rather than someone who wants to capture him. The Punisher task force is basically a joke to the rest of the precinct. Turns out the undercover agent was handling some cash for Jigsaw, so he and his crew end up terrorizing Angela and Grace in an attempt to find it. Elsewhere, Agent Budiansky and Soap end up capturing the Punisher, who mentions that Jigsaw may be on his way to Angela's house, as they can't get a hold of the patrol car they sent there beforehand. Budiansky goes into the house and gets caught by Jigsaw. Punisher gets Soap to let him go to help Budiansky because he knows Jigsaw and crew are inside. Castle gets the job done, and Jigsaw is captured. Frank brings Angela and Grace to his hideout until Jigsaw is put behind bars. But Jigsaw deals his way out of murdering 2 police officers, terrorizing a widow, her child, and an FBI agent because he gives details of his deal with some Russian mobsters for some dangerous biological material. On top of that, the FBI agrees to give Jigsaw info on Microchip, who they use to find the Punisher's hideout and to lure him into an ambush. Frank can't get a hold of Micro, so leaves to look for him, leaving Angela and Grace in the hands of one of Micro's friends. He gets ambushed, and Angela and Grace get nabbed. Jigsaw wants Castle in exchange for their lives. Castle wants Agent Budiansky there to help us secure the trade. Meanwhile, Jigsaw recruits different gangs to fill up his abandoned hotel to ambush the Punisher. This montage shows like some kind of deranged army recruitment video, and is pretty funny. The Punisher suits up dramatically, and anticipation for the final battle builds up. And Budiansky gets some unlikely help from the Russian mob, as the son of the leader is the one Jigsaw gave up to the feds earlier to get out of trouble. They show up and start a diversion that allows Castle to break in, and the final battle ensues. The good in the film first off. Ray Stevenson looks the part of the Warzone Punisher and more modern-style Punisher comics. This guy is the Punisher. In that armor he wears with the large collar, he spot on looks the part. Jigsaw's makeup is a practical effect. It's very well done, and genuinely gross to look at. Everyone's acting is well done too. The directing, you can tell, was handled with care. The editing is great. It looks like they used some extra fast cuts during the Punisher's reloading and holstering to keep up the pace of the action. Speaking of which, the action is very fast-paced, but it is easy to see and follow, which is a big plus for me. So an additional shout-out to the director, camera crew, and editor. Jigsaw has a brother in this movie, Looney Bin Jim, who they break out of an insane asylum. This character was not in the comics, and was created for the movie. I feel this was an excellent move, as having Jigsaw alone, being the crazy one, would have felt flat in comparison. Here, he and his brother's insanity play off each other nicely, and their loyalty as brothers shows through their actions in the film. A minimal use of computer effects. I'm sure this was due to a lower budget, but almost all the effects are done practically, and to great effect. Nearly everything about the look of this film is faithful to the comics. The color palettes and lighting of the scenes were very well thought out, to replicate the Garth Ennis style of the Punisher comics. There's a bigger showcase of weaponry than the other Punisher films, which Punisher fans will appreciate. Now for the beefs. While the film is faithful to the comics, that doesn't mean everything you see and read in a comic panel will translate well into film. Like when Jigsaw tells his crew that Billy, his real name, is dead, and to call him Jigsaw would fit perfectly in a comic, but comes off as kind of corny in the film. After Frank accidentally kills the undercover FBI agent, he talks to Micro and repeats in words what he just did, stating the obvious. Exposition, I believe they call it. Except it wasn't hard to understand, and it was the reason Agent Budiansky came into the story in the first place. It can feel like a B-movie at times. Most shots are great, but a few look like they could have come from a made-for-TV movie. There's an audio discrepancy where Jigsaw yells the S word, but the F word is dubbed over it. The violence in the comics being replicated on screen makes the imagery at times almost too graphic. This, of course, could be a plus depending on the individual watching. There's one scene where Agent Budiansky approaches Detective Soap in a bar and asks, "I need to go see Castle. Where do I find him?" What the hell? I had the understanding that Soap was looking for Castle and didn't actually know where he is. Unless I'm reading this scene wrong and Soap is downplaying what he knows about Castle and Budiansky knows it, then this is an absolutely unnecessarily stupid line to be in the film. And how could they not spot him at the funeral here? This is a beef not only in this movie, but lots of others and TV shows as well. I hate it when cops start listing off government organizations, FBI, CIA, KGB, ABCDEFG, and spouting things about terrorism and national security. I don't even care about these organizations in real life, but I hear them being mentioned all the time. It's become a personal cliche with me and just something that makes me roll my eyes. Overall, this is my second favorite of the 3 Punisher films. If you're a big Marvel movie buff, I think it would be different and unique enough to be worth having in your collection. It's a good-looking film, and has even been released in 4K. The proper directing, editing, acting, cinematography, and faithfulness of the source material makes it worthy to be in the Marvel movie lineup. 7.5 out of 10. Ex-Special Forces Officer Frank Castle, Ray Stevenson, Rome, is back with all guns blazing as the Punisher, this time waging a one-man war on 2 fronts. While targeting the vicious mob boss, Billy Rizzotti, Castle horribly disfigures the gangster in a firefight that also claims the life of an undercover FBI agent. Now the Punisher must find a way to elude the law and decimate a deadly crime army in this adrenaline-packed action thriller. Special features. Training to become the Punisher. Ray Stevenson trains with the Marines on weapon handling and fight training. The making of Punisher Warzone. Interview with the director and cast, location and character info. Creating the look of Punisher Warzone. The creative use of colors that match each scene. Meet Jigsaw. Info on the prosthetics and Jigsaw makeup. Weapons of the Punisher. A look at the real world and customized arsenals in the film. Theatrical trailer. Punisher Warzone. Vengeance has a name.
I'm looking for my money, which your rat of a husband stole from me.
We don't have it, I swear to God.
How about you, sweet cheeks? Would you also like to swear on an imaginary friend?